After Game 1 of the NHL playoff series between the Boston Bruins and the Montreal Canadiens, there was an onslaught of racial tweets which were tied back to Bruins fans. The comments created righteous outrage from other communities, but in many cases, the outrage was directed at Boston, the Thing. In those cases, Boston represented the fans of the team, the city, the area, and in some cases, the concept of Boston Strong. My initial reaction was to grit my teeth, but not with a feeling of defensive anger. What I felt was frustration and hurt and soul-deadening sadness. It's quite the same reaction I had to the initial news of Donald Sterling's comments, and every other instance of racism or stereotyping or racial profiling or physical and emotional intolerance that exists across the globe in this supposedly advanced age. I know full well the stigma of living in a city wrought with a history of racism and intolerance. Whether it's the busing riots of the 70s or the extremely public attitudes of the Yankees, who were the owners of the Boston Red Sox for many years, and a large part of the reason that the Sox were the last team to integrate their roster, or any of the other acts of intolerance which do and have existed going all the way back to the Salem witch trials of the 1690s. And with that, I've lived in this area throughout the times where people banded together to lift each other up. In those times, the kinship was not bounded by race, color, creed, or sexual preference or physical ability. Through the backlash of 9/11 and the fear and heartache of knowing that the evil was among us and left from our very city, to the bombings at the Boston Marathon last year, where runners and bystanders rushed to the aid of the fallen without fear or thought for their own safety or well-being, as another act of terror rocked our city. And while the latter incident was the birth of the motto Boston Strong, I've seen the strength of the community that exists here long before that day. Does that mean that everyone here is a clear-thinking, loving human being? Absolutely not. However, if you can find a single place in the world where that is the case, I would be shocked. The comments made by a very small portion of the fans of a team, which are not relegated to just the Boston area, are deplorable. I was outraged when I heard them. Since that game, the Boston Bruins, from the highest level of the organization down to the skates on the ice, have denounced the comments. Media outlets in the area have literally called out by name and on air those who made the comments, and the general outrage is significant. Boston Strong is a thing of perseverance and strength. I've seen and known many who were there when the bombs went off, and some who have been injured irreparably and even killed. Boston Strong is not about hate or intolerance. Boston Strong may seem trite or overdone, but it did become meaningful to us. And if I'm honest, to tie that positive passion to the idiocy of a very small portion of fools is difficult for me to process. The population of the city of Boston is around 700,000. The population of Massachusetts is about 7 million. The reach of a professional sports team goes in even different directions from both of those numbers. In any collection of people that large, some will undoubtedly be assholes beyond the norm. And while I do not condone their assholery by any stretch, I also don't condemn the others in that group as being of the same mind. Stereotyping is easily reversed, and no matter what the intent or genesis of that type of comment or thought, the results will always hurt someone. I'm Boston Strong. I am Boston proud. I am a hometown homer and fan of our local teams. But above all, I am a lover of human life and human choice and human diversity. Here's the thing though, all of this, it isn't just about Boston or Boston Strong or sports or anything like that. It's about us, all of us as human beings. And it's about tolerance and understanding and acceptance. Appreciate the individuality of the person and judge them on them, not on the group that they belong to. Boston Strong is about overcoming and bouncing back from adversity and doing it together. Let's celebrate diversity and take all that Boston Strong is, and let's all be human strong.